1.
Woohoo!
3.
30 is a lie.
4. Alright, we're gonna do 15.
This didn't land like gossip. This landed like a match thrown into a gas leak. 1 minute the internet was arguing about recycled drama. And the next minute Chrisean Rock allegedly dropped claims so wild they made timelines freeze. Mid-scroll, names were named, lines were crossed, and suddenly Keke Palmer and Blueface were trending in the same sentence for reasons nobody saw coming.
I love your house, though. Thank you for welcoming me to your humble
Keke
abode.
loves my house.
This wasn't a vague post. This wasn't a cryptic caption. This felt like someone cracking a door, open and letting chaos rush the room. The reaction was instant and violent. Fans didn't ask questions first. They picked sides, memes detonated. Think pieces spawned faster than apologies. And the comments look like a digital riot. Because when Chrisean speaks, people don't listen for polish. They listen for damage.
Well, it kept trying to argue with me, and I was just like, bro.
And this time, the claims hit close enough to feel personal, but loud enough to feel intentional. This whole moment made celebrity PR look like a house of cards built during an earthquake. Because Keke Palmer doesn't live in scandal spaces, and Blueface never leaves them. Putting those two names in the same narrative felt like mixing church clothes with a street fight, and the internet smelled blood. Something about this didn't feel accidental. It felt like something that had been simmering finally boiled over. And once the claims were out, there was no walking it back. Screenshots don't forget, clips don't expire. And the internet doesn't forgive curiosity. Whatever this is, it's bigger than one post. It feels like a leak that wasn't supposed to leak yet. The moment Chrisean Rock's claims hit the timeline, the internet reacted like someone pulled a fire alarm inside a packed theater. No warning, no preparation, just instant chaos. This wasn't one of those vague, cryptic posts people ignore after 5 minutes. This felt pointed, emotional, and loaded with just enough specificity to make everyone uncomfortable. The kind of statement that doesn't ask for attention but dares you to look away. And once the names Keke Palmer and Blueface entered the same conversation, curiosity turned into obsession. Chrisean has never been subtle with her truth or her version of it. She speaks like someone who doesn't believe in inside voices or PR filters. That's why her words travel fast. Even people who swear they don't believe her still listen, because her history suggests that chaos follows her statements, whether they're exaggerated, misunderstood, or painfully accurate. This time, the claims didn't sound like random venting. They sounded intentional, like something she'd been holding onto until the pressure finally cracked. The background between Chrisean and Blueface is already a saga that feels longer than some careers. Their relationship has been broadcast so publicly that fans feel like unpaid interns in the drama department. Every breakup, every accusation, every reconciliation has played out in real time, leaving receipts everywhere. So when Chrisean referenced Blueface again, nobody was surprised. What shocked people was the alleged connection to Keke Palmer, a name that usually exists in a completely different celebrity ecosystem. Keke Palmer's public image has always been carefully balanced. She's relatable without being reckless, outspoken without being self-destructive. She trends for humor, talent, and confidence, not scandal. That's why seeing her name collide with Chrisean's narrative felt jarring. It was like watching two unrelated genres suddenly merge into one uncomfortable crossover. The internet froze, not because it understood what was happening, but because it couldn't immediately dismiss it either. Initial reactions were pure confusion. People scrambled for context, replaying clips and rereading posts, trying to figure out what exactly was being claimed and why now. Was this about a private interaction blown out of proportion? A misunderstanding turned into a megaphone moment? Or something deeper that had been buried until emotions overrode discretion? The lack of clarity didn't slow the story down, it accelerated it. Ambiguity is the internet's favorite fuel. Chrisean's delivery only added to the tension. There was no cautious framing, no allegedly safety net, no attempt to soften the impact. She spoke with the conviction of someone who felt justified, even if the details were murky. That kind of confidence reads as authenticity online, regardless of accuracy. People equate emotional intensity with truth, and Chrisean's intensity has never been questioned. Love her or hate her, she sounds like she believes every word she says. Blueface's involvement made the claims feel more plausible to skeptics and more outrageous to defenders. His history of controversy has conditioned the internet to expect mess whenever his name surfaces. Fans immediately started revisiting old moments, old interviews, and old clips, searching for anything that could retroactively fit this new narrative. The internet loves a good rewrite of history, especially when it confirms suspicions people already had. Suddenly, moments that once seemed harmless were being reinterpreted through a darker lens. Keke Palmer's fanbase reacted fast and loud. Many rejected the claims outright, framing them as another example of Chrisean dragging respected names into chaos for attention. They demanded receipts, timelines, and explanations that went beyond emotional declarations. Others took a more cautious stance, acknowledging that celebrity images are curated and that nobody truly knows what happens behind closed doors. That divide created instant battle lines, turning comment sections into ideological war zones. Media blogs wasted no time amplifying the situation. Headlines danced around the claims without fully committing to them, using language designed to provoke clicks while avoiding lawsuits. Internet erupts, fans react, claims surface. Each repost stripped away nuance, leaving only the most inflammatory pieces. The story stopped belonging to Chrisean almost immediately. It became a public spectacle shaped by algorithms and outrage cycles. What made this moment especially volatile was the timing. The internet was already saturated with drama, making attention, scares, and reactions exaggerated. In that environment, subtlety dies. Chrisean's claims didn't just add to the noise, they cut through it. People who didn't even follow her found themselves dragged into the discourse, trying to piece together a story that felt incomplete but impossible to ignore. As the hours passed, speculation hardened into assumptions. Some people treated the claims as confirmed truths, others dismissed them entirely as cloud-driven chaos. Very few sat comfortably in the middle. That polarization is where damage begins. Because once narratives solidify, facts struggle to catch up. Reputations start shifting before anyone has time to verify anything. And in the court of public opinion, association alone can be enough to stain. The silence from Keke Palmer's camp only intensified the scrutiny. In celebrity culture, silence can mean strategy, shock, or refusal to dignify chaos with a response. But the internet doesn't interpret silence generously. It fills gaps with theories. Every hour without a statement became another thread, another think piece, another argument about what the silence meant. Meanwhile, Blueface's unpredictability left people unsure whether to expect a response or another escalation. By the end of this phase, the situation had grown far beyond the original claims. It was no longer just about what Chrisean said. It was about how quickly narratives form, how easily chaos spreads, and how fragile celebrity images really are. The story hadn't reached its peak yet, but the foundation was set. Lines were drawn, opinions were locked in, and the internet was bracing for whatever came next. Because when claims like these surface, they rarely fade quietly, they evolve, multiply, and demand a reaction, whether anyone is ready or not. Once the claims finished detonating across timelines, the internet did what it always does when uncertainty meets celebrity names. It picked a villain, crowned a victim, and started writing a script that didn't wait for facts to catch up. This wasn't a slow burn. This was a flash fire. Memes, reaction videos, stitched clips, and armchair investigations flooded feeds. So fast it felt like the internet was trying to solve this story before it fully understood it. And the louder it got, the harder it became to separate curiosity from conviction. The memes arrived first, because humor is how the internet pretends it isn't uncomfortable. Screenshots of Chrisean's statements were plastered over dramatic music. Blueface reaction templates resurface like old villains in a sequel nobody asked for. And Keke Palmer's image, usually associated with poise and punchlines, was suddenly being used as contrast. The calm face dropped into a storm of chaos. The jokes weren't subtle, but they weren't random either. They carried an underlying disbelief that this crossover even existed. Celebrity reactions followed, or more accurately, the lack of them did. People expected quick denials, clarifications, or at least vague statements. Instead, they got silence, and silence on the internet is never neutral. It becomes a Rorschach test to some. It meant the claims were ridiculous and not worth acknowledging. To others, it felt like damage control, happening quietly behind closed doors. Every minute without a response became another thread dissecting what the silence really meant. Blueface's history didn't help de-escalate anything. His reputation for unpredictable behavior made people assume the worst without needing evidence. Old clips resurfaced, stripped of context, and reposted as if they were new discoveries. The internet doesn't care about timelines when it's chasing a narrative. It cares about confirmation. And confirmation can be manufactured when enough people agree to squint at the same clip until it fits. Meanwhile, Keke Palmer's fans went into full defense mode. They pushed back hard against what they saw as guilt by association. Many pointed out the absurdity of believing claims without proof, especially when they came from a source known for emotional outbursts. Others reminded people that celebrity images are curated and that being likable doesn't make someone immune from mess. That internal debate fractured fans' spaces, turning them into mini courtrooms where everyone played judge and jury. Pop culture comparisons exploded because people needed a framework to process what they were watching. Some compared the situation to a reality show storyline that accidentally crossed into real life. Others liken it to those documentaries where the opening scandal spirals into something much bigger than anyone expected. The tone shifted from gossip to spectacle, and that shift made everything feel more serious, even if the details were still unclear. Media outlets poured fuel on the fire with carefully worded headlines designed to provoke without committing. Words like allegedly, claims, and internet reacts did a lot of heavy lifting. They allowed blogs to amplify the chaos while sidestepping responsibility. Each article added another layer to the narrative, repeating the same information with slightly different framing. Repetition created familiarity, and familiarity started masquerading as truth. Chrisean's continued presence online only intensified the situation. Every post, every like, every absence was scrutinized for meaning. People treated her timeline like a puzzle, convinced that hidden clues were scattered between captions. Her refusal to clarify or walk anything back was interpreted in wildly different ways. To supporters, it signaled confidence. To critics, it looked like recklessness. Either way, it kept the story alive and breathing. Public outrage grew not just toward the claims themselves, but toward the culture that thrives on this kind of chaos. Commentators questioned why the internet rewards mess more than accountability. Others argued that Chrisean's honesty, however messy, was refreshing in a world of polished lies. That philosophical divide turned the scandal into a broader conversation about authenticity versus responsibility, truth versus harm, and those conversations are never quiet. As the discourse escalated, people began taking sides more aggressively. Neutrality became suspicious. If you didn't condemn the claims, you were accused of enabling chaos. If you dismissed them outright, you were accused of blind loyalty. The middle ground disappeared almost entirely. That polarization made reconciliation impossible, because once people invest emotionally in a narrative, they resist anything that threatens it. What made this chapter especially volatile was how fast public opinion shifted from shock to certainty. Speculation hardened into belief for some, while disbelief turned into dismissal for others. Very few people waited for confirmation, because waiting doesn't trend, reaction does, and reactions, once archived, don't disappear even if the Story changes later. By the end of this phase, the scandal had fully escaped its original context. It wasn't just about what Chrisean claimed anymore. It was about how quickly chaos can reshape perception. Reputations felt fragile, alliances felt questioned, and the internet, satisfied with its own conclusions, leaned back and waited for the next shoe to drop. Because in stories like this, silence never lasts, and fallout is only a matter of timing. By the time the internet settled into its familiar rhythm of outrage fatigue, one thing was clear: the damage didn't wait for verification. It never does. The moment Chrisean's claims entered the bloodstream of social media, reputations began bending under the weight of association alone. This is the part of the story nobody likes to admit out loud. Facts may matter eventually, but perception arrives first and refuses to leave quietly. And in this case, perception spread faster than any clarification possibly could. Chrisean Rock's image shifted yet again, but this time in a more complicated direction. She's always lived at the intersection of chaos and authenticity, a figure people watch because she feels unfiltered even when she's unpredictable. After the eruption, some fans doubled down on supporting her, framing her as someone brave enough to say what others hide. Others grew uneasy, questioning whether raw honesty without accountability becomes collateral damage for everyone involved. That split hardened. Once people choose how to see you online, they rarely change their minds. Blueface's reputation didn't take a hit so much as it absorbed another layer for him. Controversy doesn't disrupt the brand, it reinforces it. That's part of what makes his presence in any scandal feel inevitable. The internet treats his silence and unpredictability as proof of nothing and everything at the same time. Whether he responds or not, the narrative keeps moving, and in this case, his name staying in the conversation ensured the story wouldn't cool off anytime soon. Keke Palmer's situation unfolded very differently. Her public image, built on reliability and controlled transparency, suddenly felt fragile in a way it rarely has. Not because of proof, but because of proximity. The internet doesn't distinguish between being named and being guilty when the algorithm gets involved. Fans rallied hard, emphasizing her history, professionalism, and lack of connection to messy spaces. But even defense creates visibility, and visibility invites scrutiny. That's the cruel math of virality. Behind the scenes, people begin questioning the cost of silence in celebrity culture. Responding too fast can amplify chaos, but waiting too long lets speculation cement. Every hour without a statement became a canvas for theories. Some argued silence was strategic, refusing to dignify baseless claims. Others read it as tension, negotiation, or legal caution. The truth could be any of those things. But the internet doesn't wait for truth. It fills gaps with its own conclusions and moves on. As days passed, the broader implications came into focus. This wasn't just a personal clash or a viral moment. It was another example of how quickly narratives spiral beyond control once they're released into public space. Even if claims are clarified, walked back, or disproven later, the initial shock leaves residue. Screenshots circulate forever. Headlines get remembered without context, and future stories get framed through the lens of past chaos. Relationships around all three figures came under scrutiny. Fans questioned who was advising whom, who knew what before it went public, and who failed to step in when things escalated. The internet loves assigning blame, especially when clarity is missing. Every manager, friend, and collaborator became part of a silent trial, judged not by actions, but by assumptions. That pressure doesn't fade quickly, it lingers, reshaping how people interpret every move that follows. What made this aftermath especially unsettling was the sense that the story still isn't finished. Scandals like this don't resolve cleanly. They evolve. A response sparks a counter-response. A denial becomes a debate. A clarification gets clipped into a new controversy. Even silence can reignite attention weeks later when someone revisits the moment for content. This cycle feeds itself, and everyone involved becomes trapped in a narrative they no longer control. public perception shifted from explosive curiosity to cautious watchfulness. People stopped reacting and started waiting for statements, waiting for interviews, waiting for receipts or retractions. That waiting carries its own tension because it suggests inevitability, like something else is coming, whether anyone wants it or not. In the meantime, the story exists in a strange limbo where nothing new happens, but nothing is forgotten either. Zooming out, this scandal exposed a familiar truth about internet culture. We consume chaos faster than we understand it. We reward bold claims with attention and punish nuance with indifference. Chrisean's bombshell didn't just shake names. It reminded everyone how fragile celebrity narratives are when emotion collides with virality. It showed how quickly lines blur between speaking your truth and setting fires you can't put out. For Chrisean, the long-term consequences will likely hinge on what comes next. Clarification could soften perception. Escalation could harden opposition. Silence could allow the story to fade, or it could turn into a permanent question mark that follows her. For Blueface, the chaos blends into the background noise of his brand, but even noise can drown out opportunity over time. For Keke, the challenge lies in maintaining distance from narratives that don't belong to her, while knowing that association alone can be enough to invite scrutiny. The internet will eventually move on, because it always does. Another scandal will rise, another name will trend, another bombshell will replace this one, but the impact won't disappear entirely. It will resurface in comments, in side eyes, in remember when moments that resurface whenever any of these names trend again. That's the real aftermath. Not the headlines, but the lingering doubt they plant. This story ends not with resolution, but with tension still humming beneath the surface. Claims were made, reactions exploded, perceptions shifted, and now everyone waits to see who speaks next, who stays silent, and who pays the price for a moment that spiraled beyond control. Because in the age of viral chaos, the loudest moment is rarely the last one. And this is exactly where the internet pretends the story ends, even though we all know it doesn't. Because whether you believe Chrisean dropped uncomfortable truth or reckless chaos, one thing is undeniable: she said it loud enough to break the illusion. Once those names hit the timeline together, there was no one seeing it, no one hearing it, and no putting that toothpaste back in the tube. This wasn't just another viral moment. This was a reminder of how fast narratives can detonate. When emotion meets exposure, now it's your turn. Was Chrisean speaking her truth? Or was this another example of chaos disguised as honesty? Did the internet overreact? Or did it react exactly the way it was designed to? Drop your take in the comments, because this debate is way bigger than one headline. I want to know which side you're on and why. No fence sitting. This is one of those moments where opinions reveal more than facts. If this breakdown had you pausing mid-scroll, smash that like button like it owes you rent. Hit subscribe like scandals drop faster than apologies, because over here, the chaos doesn't come with warning labels. We don't chase rumors, we dissect the fallout, and when stories spiral, we're already 10 steps ahead. Turn on notifications, because moments like this never stay quiet. There's always another response, another leak, another angle nobody saw coming. And when that next chapter drops, you'll want to already be locked in, not playing catch up in the comments. This is celeb insanity, where polished images crack, internet meltdowns get exposed, and the truth is always louder than the PR. Stay alert, stay skeptical, and remember, on the internet, silence is never empty, and chaos is always loading.